Hi, let's do independent practice from 1.3 Squares and Cubes, Course 1A Singapore Math. Let's get started. Find the square of each number. You know how to find the square, right? So to find the square, you multiply the number by itself once, right? So to find the square of 3, you do 3 times 3, which is 9. Then find the square of 7. So we will do 7 times 7, which is 49. Then here 10 times 10, which is 100. And finally 12 times 12, which is 144. And it's done. So to find the square, you multiply the same number with itself. So square means the number is there twice, right? Like 3 times 3. So 3 is 2 times over there, right? Like twice. 7 times 7. So that's how you find the square. Now here we are going to find cube. And for cube, what do? We multiply the number by itself 3 times, right? So it's 2 times 2 times 2. That's 1, 2, and 3, right? That's how you find cube. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Let's do the next one. 3 times 3 times 3. 1, 2, 3. It's always good to check. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 10 times 10 times 10. 1, 2, and 3. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1000. It's like you write 1 and you count the zeros. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's how you do multiplication with 10. Finally, we have here 11 times 11 times 11. So we do 11 times 11 is 121. 121 times 11 is 1331. And you can check that 121 times 11. That's 0. 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 1. 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 1. So that's 1, 3, 3, 1. Try and learn the squares and cubes at least until 15 as you have been doing for the times tables, okay? That helps. So 8 questions already done. That's quick. List the perfect squares that are between 25 and 100. Perfect squares, meaning what? When you get the square root, you get a whole number. So let's first list down all the squares from 1 to 10. Then we choose the right ones that we need to write here. So for 1 square, it's 1. 2 square is 4. 3 square is 9. 4 square is 16. 5 square is 25. 6 square is 36. 7 square is 49. 8 square is 64. 9 square is 81. 10 square is 100. This is something that you should know by heart. These are the perfect squares because when you take the square root of any of these numbers, you'll get a whole number, right? For example, square root of 25 would be 5. Square root of 100 would be 10. So now we need to list the perfect squares that are between 25 and 100. So between 25 and 100. So these are the 4 ones that we need. So we say 36, 49, 64, and 81. These are the 4 perfect squares between 25 and 100. Now it says perfect cubes between 100 and 600. Let's list down the cubes here. So 1 cube is 1. 2 cube is 8. 3 cube is 27. 4 cube is 64. 5 cube is 125. 6 cube is 216. 7 cube is 343. 8 cube is 512. 9 cube is 729. And 10 cube is 1000. Now this I've listed here so that you can actually make flashcards for each one of them, like you'll have 20, and keep learning them. Look at them every day, memorize them. These are very important ones you need to memorize. It should be at the tip of your tongue. You don't have to sit and divide. Okay? Now we need between 100 and 600. So from here up to here, right? Because this is 729 and that's 64. So we need this one. So the answer to this question is going to be 125, 216, 343, and 512. Perfect cubes, right? Because when you find the cube root of those numbers, you'll get a whole number. Let's go to the next one now. Find the value of each expression. Then describe any pattern you see. Okay, so now we have to solve each of these expressions and see if there's some pattern that we observe. So 2 square is 4 and 1 square is 1. So 2 square minus 1 square is going to be 4 minus 1, which is 3. I'm going to write my answer with a different color for us to observe the pattern. Then the next one here. 3 square is 9 and 2 square is 4. So 3 square minus 2 square will be 9 minus 4, which is equal to 5. Okay, then the next one. 4 square is 16. 3 square is 9. So 4 square minus 3 square is 16 minus 9, which is equal to 7. And the last one here. 5 square is 25 and 4 square is 16. So 5 square minus 4 square equals to 25 minus 16, and that's equal to 9. So what's the pattern? Do you see any pattern? So let's look at these numbers. 2 and 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9. So what does this say? It says that when you find the difference of the square of two consecutive numbers, 2 and 1 are consecutive numbers, right? So the larger minus smaller, okay? So when you find the difference of the square of two consecutive numbers, it is equal to the sum of those two numbers, 2 plus 1, 3, right? I'm repeating myself. The difference of the squares of two consecutive numbers is equal to the sum of those two numbers. Okay? So this is the pattern that we observe here. Let's go to the next one. It says, find two consecutive numbers whose squares differ by 17. Now look at this previous question. What did we do here? What did we say? The difference of the squares of two consecutive numbers is equal to the sum of those two numbers, right? So here we got to find two consecutive numbers. When added, they give answer as 17. And what are these numbers? It's 9 plus 8, right? It's 17. So let's check whether the difference of the squares of these two numbers is 17 or not. So we say 9 square minus 8 square. 9 square is 81. 8 square is 64. So 81 minus 64. We can't do this, so we make this 7 and give 1 there. So that's 11 minus 4 is 7, and 7 minus 6 is 1. That's what you want, right? So this is 17. So which are these two numbers? 9 and 8. So when you have this type of a question, it's very simple. You got to find two numbers. You got to find two consecutive numbers. Be careful because they've asked you here, right? So you got to find two consecutive numbers that add up to give this answer. And when you square them and take the difference, you will have this same number. So that's it. So 8 cube is 512. 5 square is 25. So 8 cube plus 5 square is 512 plus 25. So 512 plus 25 is, that's 7, that's 3 and 5. So the final answer is 537. And it's done because I knew my squares and cubes. Learn squares and cubes. Make flashcards, okay? Now, here 10 cube minus 6 square. 10 cube is 1000. This one is easy to remember, right? And 6 square is 36. So 10 cube minus 6 square is 1000 minus 36, which is equal to, we can actually do this mentally, right? 36 plus 4 makes us 40, plus 10 makes it 50. So that's 14. And 50 plus 50 is 100. So it's 64 and 900, right? Well, let me just do the calculations here so that you don't struggle to understand. But that's how you do mental math. We cannot do this, so we are going to take from this one here. So that becomes 0, this becomes 9, this becomes 9, and this becomes 10. So 10 minus 6 is 4, 9 minus 3 is 6, and that's 9 here. Right? That's what I said. So 964. Okay, again it's same. It's just now that instead of 2, we have 3 numbers to deal with, right? So 7 square is 49. 8 cube is 512 and 4 square is 16. I prefer writing down the values so that I am not mistaken anywhere. So 7 square is 49 plus 8 cube, that's 512 minus 16, right? So we did this calculations first. So 512 plus 49. That's 1 carry, that's 6, and that's 5, right? So it's 561 minus 16. So again, let's do the calculations. 561 minus 16. So we have to do this, right? Because from 1 we cannot take out 6. So that's 11 minus 6 is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, and that's 5 there. So the answer is 545, 545. Okay. Next, 9 cube again. So that's 729. 5 square is 25 and 6 square is 36. So 9 cube is 729 minus 5 square is 25 plus 6 square is 36. So I will do this first. 729 minus 25. 29 minus 25 is 4, right? So that's easy. You can do it mentally. So that's 704 plus 36. And that's also easy. 36 plus 4 is 40, right? So 740 is the answer. Let's go to question 19. Yay, it's going fast. So now we have multiplications and divisions. So that's where we have to be careful. Remember the Boardmaster rule. The division will come first and then multiplication. Okay? And then addition and subtraction. So that's something that you need to remember. 8 cube is 512. 5 cube is 125. And 5 square is 25. So this is 8 cube, that's 512, multiplied with 5 cube, that's 125, divided by 5 square, that's 25. So it's BODMAS, right? So first we do division. So we have to do this part. So that's 512 times 25 times 5 is 125. We know that, right? 25, 50, 75, 100, and 125. So that's 5. And now we do the calculations here. 512 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10, so we write 0 and 1 carry. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and 5 times 5 is 25. So the answer is 2560. Next, 10 cube is 1000. 8 square is 64 and 4 square is 16. So 10 cube 1000 divided by 64 times 16. Okay, so that's how you do that calculation. Now I'll show you two ways to do here. So we know that 16 times 1 is 16 and 16 times 4 is 64. And then this 4 is ones and that's 250. So your answer is 250. Okay, or you could have done like 1000 divided by 64 times 16, like following this rule as it is given. So we do this part here and we do the division here, that divided by 64, right? So in this it goes once, and right, 64. So the remainder is going to be 36. We put 0 there, and 64 goes 5 times, and that is 320. 40 is the remainder. We now put 0 and of course the decimal here, right? And 64 times 6 is 384. So we have remainder of 16. We put another 0, so that is twice, and that's 128. So that's 32. We put another 0 and we have reached this number 32. So that's times 5. Okay, so this is 15.625 times 16. If you do this calculation, you're going to get this answer. Okay, so you can decide which method you work better with. This is a little longer method. This is very simple method here. But you need to be careful with your work. You need to be careful with what you are cancelling with what number. That's very important in this process. This is long but easy. You know your steps. First you do the division and then you multiply. Here it's like you have everything together. The division is here and this multiplication is here. So it's all combined. So you need to know what goes in what, like what are the multiples, what are the factors, which number will go into what, how do you cancel that. Okay, so this is how you solve this question. Next is 7 cube, which is 343. 10 square is 100 and 2 square is 4. So we write this down. 343 minus 100 upon 4, like divide by 4, right? So we can say this is 343 as it is, because we are going to do this division first. So 100 divided by 4 is 25, right? So 343 minus 25. That's 3 and we give 1 over there. So that's 13 minus 5 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1 and that 3 is here. So the answer is 318. Okay. Next, 3 cube is 27. 4 cube is 64 and 6 square is 36. So 3 cubes, that's 27, plus 4 cube, that's 64, times 36, that's 6 square, right? So we will do this first, right? So let's do the calculations here. 64 times 36, 0. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 carry, 3 times 6 is 18, 18 plus 1 is 19, plus 6 times 4 is 24, 2 here, 6 times 6 is 36, plus 2, 38, that's 4, 2 plus 8 is 10, so 0 and 1 carry, that's 1 plus 9, 10, 10 plus 3, 13, 1 carry, that's 2. So the answer for this is 27 plus 2304, right? And 27 plus 4 is 31. It's simple. Mental addition. 2, 3, 3, 1 is the answer. Ready for the next one? Okay, now we have different set of questions here. And these are also easy ones. Given that 41 square is this, 1681, find the square of 410. Now, how do we get 410? From 41 to 410, how do we get there? We need to multiply this with 10, okay? So, to find the square of 410, we have to find the squares of these numbers. So, 410 square equals to 41 square times, because this is times 10, right? So, times 10 square, the square of that number as well. 41 square is given to us 1681 times, 10 square is 100, right? And you write this as 1681 and then 2 zeros. So that's the answer. Easy, right? You can try the next one yourself and then check how did it go. Meanwhile, I'll also solve. 14 cube is this. I need 140. So 14 to 140 is again times 10. So 140 cube equals to 14 cube times 10 cube. And the answer for this is here, 2744 times 10 cube. So it is 1, 2, 3 zeros, right? So the answer is going to be 2744 and 1, 2, 3 zeros, because multiplying with tens, hundreds, thousands, that's how it works, right? So this is the answer. Easy. Okay, so it's just identifying what number you need to multiply to or divide to get there and then solve accordingly. Evaluate. Okay, so 13 square is 169. 20 cube. Let's use the method from here. How do we get 20 cube now? So 20 is 2 times 10, right? So then 2 cube times 10 cube. 2 cube is 8 times 1000, right? So that's 8,000, right? So 20 cube is 8,000. So something that we learned in the previous question, we are using it here. And then finally we have 18 cube, which is equal to 5832. Okay, that's something you have to learn now. So 13 square, that's 169, plus 20 cube, which is 8,000, minus 18 cube. So that's 5832. So we add this, it's easier to do. So that becomes 8169, right? Because it's 169 and it's 8,000. Minus 5832. So let's do the calculations here. It's 8169 minus 5832. So that's 7. That's 3. Now this is not possible. So we do this, right? So that's now 11 minus 8 is 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. So the answer is 2337. And it's done. Already 25 questions done. Okay, find 3 consecutive numbers whose cubes have a sum 2241. Now for this, you need to have some idea about your cubes, right? I'll just help you do some guesswork and then based on that, how you can decide. Now I know my 8 cube is 5112. 9 cube is 729. And 10 cube is 1000. Round it like 500. Round it like 700. Okay, it's just rounding that we are doing. So 1000 plus 700 is 1700 plus 500 is 2200. Right? So we need 41 extra. And actually, if you add this 12 plus 29, it's 41. So just rounding this and adding them to get an idea whether these numbers will work or not. So that was the whole purpose of doing that. To check mentally before actually doing the calculations that whether these three numbers will help or not. So let's add them. 8 cube plus 9 cube plus 10 cube. So 8 cube is 5, 1, 2. 9 cube is 7, 2, 9, and that's 1000. So we add now. So let's do this. 5, 1, 2, 7, 2, 9, and 1, 0, 0. We add all of them together, right? 2 plus 9 is 11. 1 here, carry 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 plus 7 is 12. 1 carry, that's 2. And that's exactly what we want. 2, 2, 4, 1. So the three consecutive, one after the other. You cannot take random numbers. And it's cubes. Okay, here comes word problems. A class wants to make a giant square banner to hang in the school gym. The banner will have sides that are each 28 feet long. It's a square, okay? So that tells me what I have to do. Square. How do you find the area of the square? Side square, right? So banner will have sides. So what's the banner size going to be? The area of the banner will be how much? So banner is 28 feet long, right? And it's a square too. So the area of the banner is going to be 28 times 28. So that's basically the square of 28, right? So 28 times 28. That's 0. 2 times 8 is 16. 1 carry. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. 8 times 8 is 64. 6 carry. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. So that's 487. So area is going to be 784 feet square. Remember your units. You found area. So it's no more feet. It has to be feet square now. Okay? And then it says it will be made from smaller paper squares that are each 4 feet long. So what about the paper? The paper is 4 feet long, right? And from smaller paper squares. So again, there are square papers. So what's the area of each paper? So that's 4 times 4, which is 16 feet square. Okay, how many paper squares will the class need to make the giant banner? So we know the total area of the banner. We know the area of the paper. How do we know how many papers do we need? How are we going to work this? Let me give you a hint here. So for example, this is like your flag, okay? It goes like this, like you make many small papers will be there, right? So each 1, 2, 3, you'll have to count that. So if you do total, divided by area of each paper, you will get it, right? So that's exactly what we have to do. So we'll do area of banner, right, upon area of the paper. That will give us the number of papers that we need. So that's 784. That's the area of the banner upon 16. That's the area of the paper. And you do the calculations here. 784 divided by 16. 16 times 4 is 64. That's 4, that's 1, and that's 4, right? We take 4 down. Now 16 times 9 is 144. So that's 0. So that's 49 papers is what we will need to make the banner. Okay, so this is how you solve. Okay, alternatively, let me just explain you a way to actually understand this. So it's like you make this line here, that's 28 because that's the banner, right? Your paper is 4, so you keep dividing like 4, 4, 4. You need to reach 28, and you know 28 divided by 4 is 7, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That way it goes 7. And equally here it's 28, right? So again, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's 7. So it goes on. So this is 1, 2, 3. So likewise, you have here 7, right? 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. This way also you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 pieces. So you multiply 7 times 7. You get 49. So that's what you want here. So that was just a way of understanding the question. Like you can visualize, that gives you idea about what you need to do. Okay, let's go to the next one. This week, customers at a carpet store pay $3 for a square foot of carpet. Next week, the store will have a sale. During the sale, each square foot of carpet will cost only $2. So there's a difference of $1. Diego wants to carpet 2 square rooms. They are square rooms in his house. The floor in one room is 10 feet by 10. Okay, so room 1, let's say room 1, it's 10 by 10. So that is, the area is going to be 100 feet square. The floor in the other room is 14 by 14. So room 2 is 14 times 14, which is 196 feet square, right? So you're finding the square of 10 and 14. So what's the total area? We add it. So that is 296 feet square. How much money will Diego save if he waits to buy carpet during the sale? So, if he's buying now, he's paying $3 per square foot, right? And if he buys during the sale, it is $2. So, he's saving $1 per square foot, right? So, how many square foots he has? Because he's saving 1 per square foot, right? So, times 1 only. So, the answer is actually $2.96. Understood? Because it's 3 minus 2, right? So that's 1. So you multiply this because that's what he is saving. He's saving $1 for a square foot. Okay, let me write the steps for you. So his total savings will be how much? 296 because that's the area times 1. So that's $296 is what he is going to save. It's that simple, right? There was nothing much to do. It was just finding the total area and multiplying with the difference of this. Say for example, if this was 5 and this was still 2, so difference would be 3. So you would do 296 times 3, okay, if that was the case. So just to help you understand what number you multiply with. Otherwise, you'll say, why just 1 over here? And every time you do 1, no, it depends upon the difference between the two numbers. So let me just take that out. Okay, and here comes the last question. A cubic crate holds cubic wooden boxes. Each of the crates inside edges. Okay, so it's a box. Okay, like this. And we're talking about, it says each of the crates inside. So the measurement is for the inside. The images are in your books. That's 16. Each wooden box has outside edges. Now there are small boxes, wooden boxes, okay? And their outside edges is given to be 4 because you are going to fit those boxes in the big crate that you have here. How many wooden boxes can fit inside the cubic crate? Okay? So now here it says cubic crate, right? So because it's a box, it's a container, you can put things like boxes here and on top of it again you go. It's like a 3D one, okay? So we are going to use cube over here and not square. When you look at the image in your book, you will understand that you can pile up box upon box, right? Not just like this way, but on top of that also you can pile up because it says each of the crates inside edges. So its length, width and depth is also covered over here. Now I'm going to show the easy method here. So the outside one is 16, right? And you're keeping boxes inside. So as you did here in the previous question, you had to divide, right? So the same thing will come here. So let's write the numbers here. So we outside, the larger one, right? So that's 16 times 16 times 16, right? Because it is cubic crate. And each smaller box is 4. So 4 times 4 times 4, right? So we now cancel the common factors. So 4 and 4 is, this is 16, right? 4 times 4. So that 4 and this 16 will be cancelled, right? And now here, so let's cancel this also. So there's no confusion. So that's 1 and that's 1. Now this 4 is 1 and 4 is 4 here, right? 4 times 4 is 16. So what are we left with? What numbers do we have? In the numerator, we have 1. We don't need to multiply with 1, right? So we have 4 times 16. And in the denominator, it's just 1. So the answer is 4 times 16, which is 64. So it can have 64 smaller boxes fitted in that larger box that we have. So this is how you had to do. Alternatively, you could have done, okay, 16 cube and 4 cube. Then you find the value for 16 cube, whatever that value is. And then you find the value for 4 cube. You write it and then you go and do the division. That was a long process. If the numbers didn't have anything in common, it was a different thing. But here we knew that 4 goes in 16, right? Like 16 is the multiple of 4. So I opted for this method as it makes my calculations much easier. So that's it for this chapter. We end it here. I'm sure you're following it well and you're ready to do the review. But before I do review with you, I suggest that you go through all your content thoroughly, especially the content videos, rewatch them, have your notes written if you need to, and then come back. Let's solve the review of this chapter together. Until then, enjoy working. Bye bye.